Did you go through Epic? Like as a teenager?
Yeah, of course. I actually know what it started when I was in about year 9, I think. It started in 2007.
Okay.
So
Yep.
yeah, I got half it. But back then, this is when we were in Chester Hill and we didn't have a room to meet in every Friday. So
Mm-hmm.
Epic was pretty much once a month event where we do an activity, have a devotion, and that was about it. It
So
wasn't what it is today.
was your last year 2010?
Yeah, that's when I graduated.
Okay, that was my first year. I was trying to figure out
We
when.
had just moved into church then, right?
Yeah,
Into the Regent's Park building, yeah.
yeah, that was our first year. So
So we kind of started regular Fridays as I left.
as you were leaving, and how did you become a Christian? How did you get saved? Let's take it all the way back.
Yeah, really far back. Okay,
Yeah,
so
let's
I was
go.
born in a Christian home. My uncle was actually the pastor back when I was born. So that's my mom's brother. Anyway, outside of that, all my family were pretty much within the church at that time. And I specifically remember being really young on my cousin Joanne's balcony, and we were sitting there just coloring in, doing our thing. I know, kids do. And I don't know what age I was, probably 4 or 5. And I remember her asking me if I'd ever asked Jesus to save me. And I was like, I'm like, oh, later, like, you've been too young to think about that. Let's just do what we're doing. And she's like, no, Jamie, it's serious because you need to decide for yourself. Just being in a Christian family doesn't do it for you. So I remember we stopped and we prayed together and I accepted Christ then. And again, I don't remember all the details of when it was.
4 or 5 years old.
Yeah. And I remember going inside and telling our parents, and they kind of brushed me off like I didn't understand. And I was like really excited, but no one cared. And then from there, I don't know if it was my age or their reaction. Years on, I doubted that salvation a lot. So I remember praying for salvation several times, often at night, especially like after Friday Bible club, and Mum would pray with me, but she'd always tell me, if you've meant it, you only need to say it once. So eventually there was a point where I remember just praying it with her one last time and saying, that's it, I'm sure, I don't need to keep doing this. So again, I was still young at that time, but then I think it was 06 or 07, we went to a Melbourne conference, it was an NVF, and that was when I dedicated my life to Christ. And again, I was still in high school, I still had some ups and downs. And then again, I mentioned earlier, when my brother Johnny passed, that was my turning point where I just threw myself into ministry and gave everything to God. So that's kind of like a running history of my life story and my relationship with Christ.
And that's sort of beautiful. I mean, first off, you've got a 4-year-old talking to another 4-year-old about Jesus. That's unreal. That's awesome. But then you sort of stick with it the entire time. And the turning point of your life that is meant to be the point where you turn away from God, or what you intended it to be, was the turning point that brought you closer to him and sort of made you go all out for him. Do you look back at that moment and sort of freak out a bit over it?
Because like I told you, I threatened God to walk away from him. And if that happened, my life would have turned out so differently. I don't know where I'd be now.
Yeah, that's insane. That's mind-blowing to me, to be honest. I didn't even know that.